Hi, I'm Trevor Evans. I'm currently enrolled at FullSail University in the Show Production and Touring degree program. Technology is a big part of the show production world. It takes a lot of different systems working together in perfect sync in order to pull off stuff like this. You saw all the moving lights and heard all of the music. Well, without computers analyzing and telling each component what to do, that concert would be impossible. First, let's talk lights. Each of those lights is its own computer. On board, each of those fixtures is a mini computer controlling hundreds of moving parts. These fixtures talk through a very simple communication code called DMX, but I'll talk about that later. Each fixture is routed back to a main hub controlling them simultaneously. This hub is known as the lighting console. Here's an example. Next is the audio. Just like lights, there are hundreds of different components being brought together to create a sound that you are hearing. For an orchestra the size of Trans-Siberian Orchestra, which was the clip that I showed you first, there's probably hundreds of microphones being used. A controller called a soundboard is controlling all of these microphones. And here is an example of one they might have used. In order to keep track of all those lights and control them simultaneously, you need a controller like the one I showed you earlier. This controller is a wonderful tool but is useless without its software. The software for a lighting console does the important job of telling the fixture's computer what to do. The controller and fixture both communicate through DMX. DMX is based on simple parameters. There are 512 channels in a DMX universe, and each channel has a value between 0 and 100. The controller keeps track of those values and can store them for later use. Now you can even load a virtual version of your lighting rig onto your computer and a virtual console and reprogram lights in a hotel room, for example, if you're on tour. Here's an example of the offline rendering software. Soundboards like the one I showed you use very similar software as the software for lighting, in the sense that they both take all the channels and output one signal to the audience. The console itself allows the engineer to make groups, set EQs, and save all of his settings to the console or flash drive to be edited later. Performers often want live recordings to put on albums or keep for reflections, so the engineer is sometimes required to mix a live show and send it to a recorder. This can be done with simple software. This recording software takes all the individual channels of audio and puts them onto one screen so the engineer can edit them later. Here's an example. Thank you very much for listening to my podcast, and I hope that I have inspired you to become more interested in the show production world. Once again, my name is Trevor Evans. Thanks for listening.